Hello friends, let us now learn about the pharmacology. In the pharmacology we will learn about the epilepsy. Okay, in this epilepsy first we are going to learn about the first I'll just give you the brief introduction about epilepsy, and then we will learn about the drugs which are which are used in the treatment of epilepsy. So if you see, first epilepsy can be classified into mainly two types. One, we have generalized epilepsy. Second, we have partial or simple partial seizures epilepsy, or we have unclassified type of epilepsy. So in this let us now learn about the different types of generalized epilepsy. So the types of generalized epilepsy include, we have GTCS, petit mal epilepsy or absent seizures, myoclonic epilepsy, tonic or clonic seizures, and atonic or akinetic seizures. Then in the partial seizures we have simple seizures and complex seizures, whereas in unclassified seizures we have febrile seizures and infantile spasms. So first let us learn about the different drugs which can be used. So in GTCS we can use N-type calcium blockers or T-type calcium blockers and sodium blockers, whereas in partial or focal seizures we can use sodium blockers. In absent seizures we can use T-type of calcium channel blockers. So these are important. So what are the sodium channel blockers which are available? So these lists are important. So here the sodium channels which are available include valproate, lamotrigine, phenytoin, carbamazepine, okay, oxcarbamazepine, locasamide and rufinamide. Then we have topiramate and zonisamide. Okay, so all these are the sodium channel blockers. In this, the important properties is, if you see, this valproate is the most teratogenic drug, whereas lamotrigine is the least teratogenic drug. What is most teratogenic drug? Most teratogenic drug is valproate. What is least teratogenic drug? Least teratogenic drug is lamotrigine. Okay, most teratogenic drug is valproate and least teratogenic drug is lamotrigine. Then what is the oldest anti-epileptic is phenytoin. So these are the one-liners which can be asked. So first drug which I would like to discuss here is about the valproate. Okay, so what is the mechanism of action of valproate? As I have already told you, it is due to sodium channel blockers and calcium channel blockers, and it also increases GABA synthesis. Okay, how does it increase GABA synthesis? It increases GABA synthesis by inhibiting the breakdown of GABA, that is inhibiting the GABA transaminase, and as a result there is increased GABA release. Okay, among all this, what is really important is, this is a microsomal enzyme inhibitor. This is important. It is a microsomal enzyme inhibitor, valproate, and it is used as drug of choice. It is used as drug of choice in these conditions. It is used as drug of choice in atonic or myoclonic seizures, absent seizures, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. Atonic or myoclonic seizures, absent seizures in more than 2 years of population, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. So in these cases it is used as a drug of choice. It can also be used as GTCS but the drug of choice for GTCS, that is generalized tonic-clonic seizures, is lamotrigine. It is also used in partial seizures. Drug of choice for partial seizures is carbamazepine. It is used in bipolar disorders and mania. The drug of choice for bipolar disorders and mania is lithium. It is also used in migraine prophylaxis. Drug of choice for migraine prophylaxis is propranolol. Okay, all these are important uses of valproate. Now the important thing here is this threshold concentration. The threshold plasma concentration of this valproate, threshold plasma concentration of this valproate is 50 to 100 milligram per deciliter. So this is very important. So it is 50 to 100 milligram per deciliter. Then it is also a drug of choice in bipolar disorder in patients with rapid cyclers. It is also drug of choice in bipolar disorders in patients with rapid cyclers. So this is important thing about valproate. We will have to see the side effects also. Okay, the side effects of valproate mainly includes, if you see, among all these, alopecia is very important. Normal side effects like nausea and vomiting are seen. Along with that, there is alopecia. Fulminant hepatitis is commonly seen with valproate. Okay, and there is acute pancreatitis which is associated with valproate. Okay, and there is weight gain associated with valproate. So as a result, because of the retention of fat and weight gain, it causes or it predisposes to PCOS, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it causes peripheral edema. Okay, and it is teratogenic. Among this teratogenic, which is the most common manifestation? The most common manifestation is spina bifida. Okay, it causes spina bifida. If you were asked what is the most common cardiac manifestation, it is transposition of great arteries. Okay, then so it can also cause craniosynostosis. So these are the different side effects, especially teratogenic side effects of valproate. Valproate also results in tremors and carnitine deficiency. Remember, in children who are less than 2 years of age, this is very important, in children less than 2 years of age, this can cause irreversible hepatic necrosis, because actually it causes fulminant necrosis. So if the child is less than 2 years of age, then it results in irreversible hepatic necrosis. So these you should remember. Then what are the interactions of this valproate? Interactions of valproate include, if you should not give them, see, as I have already said, it is microsomal enzyme inducer, so you should not give it with enzyme inducers. So you cannot give it with phenobarbital and lamotrigine, because these will increase the levels, whereas carbamazepine, if you give this with carbamazepine, the fetal abnormalities will increase furthermore. You should not give valproate with phenytoin also, because it decreases the metabolism and displaces from its plasma binding site, displaces phenytoin from its plasma binding site. So at the end it results in phenytoin toxicity. So all these are important. Next if you see, the next group of drug is lamotrigine. So what do you see in this lamotrigine? Lamotrigine, it is the main mechanism of action of lamotrigine is, here it blocks the voltage sensitive sodium channels and thus stabilizes the presynaptic membrane. Okay, and thus inhibits the release of neurotransmitters like glutamate and aspartate. So if this is the neurotransmitter, it inhibits the sodium channels present here, and thus it inhibits the release of glutamate and aspartate. So this release is inhibited by this lamotrigine. Okay, now what are the uses of this lamotrigine? Uses are these drug of choices. You should remember, it is actually the drug of choice for generalized tonic-clonic seizures. It is also a preferred anti-epileptic in pregnancy. Among all these, this is the most important one. It is a preferred anti-epileptic in pregnancy. It is also an add-on in bipolar disorders. You can also use this in partial or atonic seizures. Okay, then what are the side effects? Lamotrigine, remember, the most important side effect is rash, which might progress to Stevens-Johnson syndrome, or it might progress to toxic epidermal necrolysis. This is very important. There is rash, and this rash is very severe, and it can progress to Stevens-Johnson syndrome or toxic epidermal necrolysis. Okay, the other side effects are, it can also cause ataxia and it can cause visual abnormalities. Okay, now what are the pharmacokinetics of this drug? The pharmacokinetics are, it undergoes the glucuronide conjugation. Okay, glucuronide metabolism. So the most important thing here is two points are for sure you should remember. One, its preference in pregnancy, has anti-epileptic drug, and second, Stevens-Johnson syndrome and toxic epidermolysis necrosis. Next group of drug is, this is phenytoin. So what is this phenytoin? This phenytoin is actually a prodrug. As I have already told you, it is the oldest anti-epileptic drug. So if you see here, what is the mechanism of action of this phenytoin? It acts on all the receptors, like it acts on sodium channels, calcium channels, glutamate, and GABA also. Okay, it acts on all these channels. So what is important here is uses. So if you see in the uses, it is used in all types of seizures. You can use it. Okay, it can be, this phenytoin can be used in partial seizures, generalized tonic-clonic seizures, status epilepticus, you can use it, or you can use it in ventricular arrhythmias due to digitalis, antiarrhythmias, and you can also use it in trigeminal neuralgia, but it is not a drug of choice for all these. The drug of choice for partial seizures, what is the drug of choice for partial seizures? It is carbamazepine. Drug of choice for generalized tonic-clonic seizures is sodium valproate. Drug of choice for status epilepticus is IV lorazepam. Okay, drug of choice for trigeminal neuralgia is carbamazepine. So it is not a drug of choice, but you can use in all these conditions also. So what are the pharmacokinetics of this disease? The pharmacokinetics are, if you give it in IM, it can cause pain. If you give in IV, it can cause hypotension or thrombophlebitis when you give it on IV. So as a result, it is not given in either IM or IV. Because of this tissue damage, you won't give it in either IM or IV. The most important thing which you have to remember in this is the change from first order to zero order kinetics. This is very important in pharmacokinetics of phenytoin. In the whole phenytoin, you should definitely remember about this changes from first order to zero order kinetics. So if you see at plasma concentration, at concentration more than 20, at plasma concentration, that is concentration more than 20 microgram per dec per ml, there is zero order kinetics, whereas at threshold plasma concentration, it is in first order kinetics. Normally at plasma concentration of more than 20 microgram per ml, it follows zero order kinetics. At threshold plasma concentration of 10 to 20 microgram per ml, it will follow first order kinetics. Remember, this kinetics is very important. Okay, it is also it also undergoes CYP and leucoronide metabolism. Okay, right. After this, the most important thing is the side effects. So if you see in the side effects profile, the side effects can be seen in toxic doses and also in therapeutic doses. First, the side effect profile which we see in therapeutic level. So if you see in the therapeutic level, the side effects which you see here are most common. What is the most common side effect? Most common side effect which you see in therapeutic level is gum hypertrophy is most commonly seen. Why is there this gum hypertrophy? This gum hypertrophy is mainly due to the overgrowth of gingival collagen fibers. That is, increased platelet derived growth factor results in this gum hypertrophy. It can also cause hirsutism. Okay, it will inhibit the insulin intake and thus it causes hyperglycemia. This phenytoin also causes nystagmus or yellow brown skin staining. It causes nystagmus, yellow brown skin staining. It interferes with vitamin D and calcium, leading to osteomalacia, and it has coarsening of facial features. Coarse facial features are also seen. It also interferes with vitamin B12 and folate, resulting in megaloblastic anemia and neuropathies. Okay, it also causes vitamin K deficiencies. So these are the main pharmaco side effects, that is in therapeutic level. Most commonly it causes, the most common side effect is gum hypertrophy. It causes other side effects like hirsutism. It inhibits insulin metabolism and thus it causes hyperglycemia. It also causes nystagmus. Yellow brown skin discoloration is seen. It causes coarsening of facial features, and because of interference with vitamin D and calcium, it causes osteomalacia. It also interferes with vitamin B12 and folic acid, leading to, whenever there is deficiency of vitamin B12, it causes megaloblastic anemia. If there is deficiency of folate, it causes neuropathies. It also causes vitamin K deficiency. So in the adenopathy, it also causes adenopathy, which resembles pseudo lymphoma. Okay, now what about the congenital malformations? These are very important. So congenital malformations. So this congenital malformations are very important. So what are you going to see in this congenital malformations? In the when this phenytoin is given to the pregnant woman, then there is increased chance of landing, that pregnant woman landing into a condition called as fetal Hydantoin syndrome. There is something called as fetal Hydantoin syndrome, into which the pregnant woman may land up into. So what do you see in this fetal Hydantoin syndrome? Let me show you a picture of this fetal Hydantoin syndrome so that you can become well versed with it. So if you see, this is the picture which shows fetal Hydantoin syndrome. Okay. So see, in the fetal Hydantoin syndrome, you see these features like cleft lip, cleft palate, thin upper lip, short nose, microcephaly, hypoplastic phalanges. I will label all these in the picture which I have shown you. Just a minute. See, you can see hypoplastic phalanges. So these are number 1, which is hypoplastic phalanges are seen here. Sorry, in this picture cleft lip and cleft palate are not seen. There will be cleft lip or cleft palate also. Hypoplastic phalanges will be seen. So here you see, this is microcephalic skull, right? And you see microcephaly, cleft lip, cleft palate and hypoplastic phalanges are seen. You see thin upper lip also. So these are the main features which you see in fetal Hydantoin syndrome. These are the pictures which are taken from Google images. Okay. Now, right. So in the fetal Hydantoin syndrome, these you will see, these features we have already dealt with. Now after this we will see the toxic levels. So what are the problems, or what are the issues which occur whenever there is toxic levels of phenytoin in our blood? Whenever there is toxic levels of phenytoin in our blood, it causes cerebellar and vestibular manifestations, which include ataxia, vertigo and diplopia. It causes CNS manifestations like drowsiness, hallucinations, confusion and rigidity. Okay, it causes GI manifestations, and it also causes cardiac arrhythmias and decreased blood pressure. So these you should learn. Then what are the interactions of this phenytoin? See, phenytoin is also an enzyme inducer, so you should not give it with other enzyme inducers. So you should not give it with phenobarbital. Phenobarbital will inhibit the metabolism of phenytoin, and thus it results in increased blood levels of phenytoin. Similarly, carbamazepine, which is an enzyme inducer, increases the metabolism of phenytoin, thus decreasing the plasma levels of phenytoin. Okay, so you should not give it along with chloramphenicol, isoniazid and cimetidine also. You should not give it with warfarin, because this phenytoin itself inhibits the metabolism of warfarin. Okay, so all this you can remember. Okay, the important part here is this one. So contraindications of, there are some drugs which are contraindicated in absence seizures and myoclonic seizures. So what are the drugs which are contraindicated in absence and myoclonic seizures? This you should learn in clear way. Okay, so the drugs which are contraindicated in myoclonic and absence seizures are, number 1, carbamazepine. So all the carbamazepine and oxcarbamazepine are contraindicated in absence seizures and myoclonic seizures. Phenytoin, tiagabine and vigabatrin are contraindicated in absence or myoclonic seizures. SV2 inhibitors like levetiracetam and brivaracetam are contraindicated in myoclonic seizures and absence seizures. So these are the contraindications of absence and myoclonic seizures. What are they? Oxcarbamazepine, carbamazepine, phenytoin, tiagabine, vigabatrin, SV2A inhibitors like levetiracetam and brivaracetam. So all these are contraindicated in absence and myoclonic seizures. So these are the few anti-epileptic drugs. In our next class we will see some more anti-epileptic drugs. Thank you guys for watching my lecture. Thank you.